I walked into that hotel suite expecting to surprise my husband with good news about our baby. Instead, I found champagne, roses, and a reservation for two. He wasn't expecting me. He was expecting her. And honey, what happened next? That man had no idea who he was playing with. Before we get into this story, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell because you're going to want to hear how this ends. Drop a comment and let me know. Would you have stayed or walked away? Now let me tell you what really went down that day. My name is Gabrielle, and 6 years ago, I married a man I thought was my soulmate, Preston Hughes. When I met him, he was ambitious, charming, and had this way of making me feel like I was the only woman in the world. We met at a charity gala where I was representing my law firm, and he was networking for his real estate business. Back then, he was building his empire from the ground up, luxury properties, resort developments, high-end commercial spaces. He had vision, and I loved that about him. I was a successful attorney, making good money, building my own career, but Preston had dreams that needed support, and I believed in him. So when he asked me to step back from my 70-hour work weeks to help him build his business, to be his partner in every sense of the word, I said yes. I introduced him to my family's connections. My grandfather knew people, old money people, the kind of investors who could change everything for someone like Preston. And they invested because they trusted me. Within 3 years, Preston went from comfortable to wealthy. Within 5, he was a billionaire. We had the penthouse in the city, the vacation homes, the cars, the private jet access. From the outside, we were living the dream. But somewhere along the way, something shifted. He started working later, traveling more, being distant when he was home. I told myself it was just the pressure of success, that we'd reconnect once things settled down. I was making excuses for him, and deep down, I think I knew it. 3 months ago, I found out I was pregnant. We'd been trying for a year, and I was so excited. I wanted to tell Preston in the perfect way, at the perfect moment. I was waiting for him to slow down, to have one of those nights where we actually sat together and talked like we used to, but that moment never came. He was always rushing off to the next meeting, the next property tour, the next business trip. Then came that Friday. Preston told me he had investor meetings all weekend in the business district and couldn't make it to my mother's birthday dinner. I was disappointed but not surprised. This had become our normal. I went to my mom's dinner, smiled through the evening, and tried not to think about how alone I felt in my marriage. The next morning, my best friend Andrea called me. Her voice had that tone, you know the one, where you can tell something's wrong before they even say it. She told me she'd seen Preston at the Four Seasons downtown the night before, not the business district, not at meetings. He was in the lobby, dressed too nice for a business meeting, holding flowers. My stomach dropped. Andrea asked if I knew he was there, if maybe she'd misunderstood his schedule. But we both knew she hadn't. I sat there with my phone in my hand, trying to rationalize it. Maybe the meeting location changed. Maybe the flowers were for a client. Maybe. But my intuition was screaming at me, and I've learned to listen to that voice. So I made a decision. I was going to surprise my husband at his hotel. I was going to walk in with my pregnancy test in my purse and either celebrate the best news of our lives or confirm what my heart was already telling me. The drive to the Four Seasons felt like it took forever and no time at all. I remember every detail, the way my hands gripped the steering wheel, the way my heart pounded in my chest, the way I kept rehearsing what I'd say when I saw him. I had a key card to his hotel accounts, one of those special access ones for spouses. He didn't know I'd kept it in my wallet from our last anniversary trip. I walked through that lobby like I owned it, because in that moment, I needed to feel powerful. I took the elevator to the 18th floor, walked down that long hallway, and stood outside room 1847. I could hear my own breathing. I slid that key card through the lock, and the light turned green. The first thing that hit me was the smell. Perfume, not mine. Something floral and expensive and wrong. The suite was dimmed, romantic lighting set just right. There was champagne chilling in a bucket, 2 glasses waiting on the table. Rose petals scattered across the floor leading to the bedroom, and on the desk, I saw it, a printed reservation receipt. Dinner for 2, 8 p.m., presidential suite. My husband's name on the booking. I stood there taking it all in, and I felt this strange calm wash over me. It was like my body knew I needed to stay in control, to see this through with my dignity intact. I walked further into the suite, and that's when I heard water running in the bathroom. The door was slightly open, steam drifting out, and then the water stopped. The bathroom door opened, and out she walked. White woman, mid-20s, wearing one of the hotel robes, her hair wrapped in a towel. She looked up and froze when she saw me standing there in the middle of the suite. Her face went pale, and I watched her try to figure out who I was, why I was there. It took her about 3 seconds to put it together. "Oh my God," she whispered. Her name was Vanessa Cole. I didn't know it then, but I'd learn everything about her soon enough. In that moment, though, I just looked at her and said, "I'm Gabrielle, Preston's wife. And you are?" She started stammering, trying to wrap the robe tighter around herself, backing up toward the bedroom. He told me you were separated. He said you were getting divorced." I actually laughed, not because anything was funny, but because the absurdity of that lie was too much. "Separated? Interesting. Because we had breakfast together yesterday morning. I ironed his shirt for his business meetings last night. Tell me, what else did my husband tell you?" Before she could answer, I heard the key card in the door. Preston walked in carrying takeout bags, probably thinking he was bringing dinner for his romantic evening. He looked up, saw me standing there, saw Vanessa frozen in the doorway to the bedroom, and I watched all the color drain from his face. "Gabrielle." That's all he said. Just my name. Like maybe if he said it the right way, this situation would somehow make sense. I held up my hand. Don't say my name like you're surprised to see your wife. Let me guess. The investor meetings fell through? Or did they never exist? He put the bags down slowly, and I could see him calculating, trying to figure out what to say, how to spin this. Preston was good at talking his way through things. That's how he made his money after all, but there was no talking through this. Vanessa found her voice. "You said you were getting divorced. You said she knew. You promised me." She stopped, probably realizing that whatever he'd promised her didn't matter anymore. I turned to her. "Let me tell you what he promised me. Forever. Partnership. Family. 6 years of forever, apparently." Then I looked back at Preston. 8 months, right? That's when she started working as your property consultant. That's when the late nights really picked up. Preston's face confirmed what I already knew. 8 months of lies. 8 months of him coming home to me after being with her. 8 months of me blaming myself for feeling distant from my own husband. "Gabrielle, please, let me explain," he started, but I cut him off. "Explain what?" "Explain how you accidentally made hotel reservations? Accidentally bought champagne and roses? Accidentally told this woman you were leaving me? Please, Preston, explain which part was the accident." He ran his hand over his face, and I saw something I'd never seen before. He looked small. This billionaire, this powerful man who commanded rooms full of investors, looked absolutely small. "I made a mistake. I was weak. The pressure of everything, of building the business, of trying to be perfect, I got lost." "You got lost?" My voice was so calm it scared me. "I gave up my career for you. I introduced you to every connection that made you rich. I supported every dream, every risk, every late night. And you got lost?" Vanessa was crying now, gathering her clothes, realizing she'd been played just as much as I had. She looked at Preston with something between hatred and heartbreak. "You told me she didn't understand you. That she was cold, distant. You made me think I was saving you from a loveless marriage." I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. "Honey, the only thing cold in our marriage was the side of the bed where he should have been sleeping." Then I reached into my purse and pulled out the pregnancy test. I'd taken it 3 times to be sure, kept the digital one that clearly showed the word pregnant on the screen. I held it up so Preston could see it. "I came here to tell you we're having a baby." I've been waiting 3 months for the right moment, for you to be present enough to share this joy with me. Guess I found my moment." Preston's face crumbled. He reached for me, but I stepped back. I needed him to understand that touching me was no longer his right. "Gabrielle, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. We can fix this. We can go to counseling. I'll end everything with Vanessa. I'll do whatever it takes." "You're sorry? You're sorry because you got caught or because you did it? Because honestly, Preston, I don't think you would have stopped if I hadn't walked in here today." Vanessa had her clothes on now, rushing toward the door. She looked at me one last time. "I really didn't know. I swear I didn't know. And I believed her, but it didn't change anything. She left, and it was just me and Preston and the ruins of our marriage scattered across that hotel suite floor. I could have screamed. I could have thrown things. I could have fallen apart right there. But I didn't. I looked at the man I'd loved for 6 years and said, I'm going to leave now. Don't call me. Don't come home. My lawyer will be in touch." His face changed then from guilty to panicked. "Your lawyer? Gabrielle, come on, don't do this. Think about our baby. Think about everything we built together." "Everything you built, Preston. That's how you set it up, remember? My name isn't on the properties. I'm not listed as a business partner. You kept the finances separate for tax reasons. Your lawyers made sure I was just the wife, not the partner. So yes, my lawyer will be in touch and we'll see exactly what I'm entitled to." I walked out of that hotel room with my head high and my heart in pieces. I made it to my car before the tears came. I drove to my sister Denise's house and fell apart in her arms. I told her everything, and she held me while I cried for the marriage I thought I had, for the man I thought I knew, for the family I'd imagined for my baby. Preston started calling immediately. Texts, voicemails, emails, all the same messages. He was sorry. He made a terrible mistake. He loved me. He wanted to be there for our baby. Each message made me angrier because where was this fight for our marriage when he was planning romantic weekends with another woman? His parents called me. They've always loved me like a daughter, and when they found out what Preston did, they were furious with him. His mother cried on the phone, apologizing for raising a son who could do this. But their disappointment didn't change my situation. Vanessa disappeared completely, blocked Preston on everything, quit her position at his company, left town from what I heard. She'd been used, just like me, and I couldn't hate her the way I wanted to. Preston was the one who made vows to me. Preston was the one who owed me loyalty. I met with a divorce attorney, a woman named Ruth who'd been practicing family law for 30 years. She looked over my prenup and shook her head. Preston's lawyers had written it brilliantly to protect his assets. If we divorced, I'd get minimal support and none of the business I'd helped build. I'd walked away from my legal career, my income, my independence, and I had almost nothing to show for it. But then I remembered something. I remembered every introduction I'd made, every connection I'd facilitated. The Carmichael family invested $12 million in Preston's latest development project. They did that because my grandfather and Warren Carmichael were college roommates, because I personally called and vouched for Preston's vision. I had emails, text messages, documented evidence of my role in securing that investment, and others like it. Ruth's eyes lit up when I showed her. "This changes everything. You weren't just the wife. You were an uncredited business advisor, a partner in building his success. We can argue that you're entitled to far more than the prenup states." We dug deeper. Preston had been hiding money, moving assets, preparing for something. Maybe he'd been planning to leave me for Vanessa. Maybe he just wanted to protect his wealth. Either way, we found financial discrepancies that could work in my favor. The meeting with Preston and his lawyers was beautiful in the most painful way. I walked in dressed in one of my power suits from my attorney days, my pregnancy barely showing. I was calm, collected, professional. Preston looked exhausted, desperate. He tried to catch my eye, to connect with me the way he used to, but I looked through him. When my lawyer presented our evidence, when she laid out exactly how much of Preston's success I was responsible for, I watched his face change. He realized what he'd underestimated, not just my role in his business, but me. He'd underestimated me. We settled for 40% of his business holdings, 2 properties including the penthouse, a trust fund for our child, full health insurance for life, and enough monthly support to ensure I'd never have to worry about money again. His lawyers tried to negotiate down, but Ruth was relentless. She made it clear we could take this to court, make his financial irregularities public, damage his reputation beyond repair. Preston signed. But I had one more move to make. I called Mrs. Carmichael personally, not to gossip, not to be petty, but because she deserved to know what kind of man her family's money was supporting. I told her the truth about Preston's character, about the lies and the betrayal. She was quiet for a long time, then thanked me for my honesty. Within a week, the Carmichaels pulled their backing from Preston's next big project, $12 million gone. Other investors heard about it and got nervous. Preston's reputation took a hit he couldn't smooth-talk his way out of. His business didn't collapse, but it stumbled hard, and I felt absolutely nothing watching it happen. He'd burned me, and now he was learning that actions have consequences. 6 months later, I'm sitting in my brownstone, the one I got in the settlement. My baby bump is visible now, and I feel her move sometimes, little flutters that remind me why I fought so hard. I restarted my law practice, specializing in protecting women's assets in marriage, helping them understand their worth and their rights. Turns out, my story resonates. I have more clients than I can handle. Preston's been posting on social media about accountability and growth, about learning from mistakes. It's performative. Too little too late, but I guess that's his journey to figure out. He wants to be involved with our daughter when she's born, and my lawyer is working out an arrangement that protects her and me. He'll be her father, but he'll never be my husband again. People ask me if I hate him. Honestly, I don't. Hate requires energy I don't want to give him. I feel sorry for him because he had something real and destroyed it for something temporary. He lost a partner who would have built empires with him, who would have stood by him through anything. And for what? A 26-year-old who believed his lies until reality showed up in a hotel suite? What I learned through all of this is that you can't love someone into being worthy of your love. You can't sacrifice yourself into a happy marriage. And you certainly can't ignore your intuition when it's screaming at you that something's wrong. I ignored the signs because I wanted to believe in us, but belief without truth is just denial. I protected myself and my daughter. I stood up for my worth when a legal document tried to tell me I had none. I remembered every connection I'd made, every door I'd opened, every sacrifice I'd given, and I made sure I was compensated for it. Not because I'm greedy, but because I deserved it. Because 6 years of my life, my career, my trust, that's worth something. So yes, I walked into that hotel suite expecting to surprise my husband with the best news of our lives. Instead, I discovered his betrayal and surprised him with something he never saw coming, my strength. He thought I was the comfortable wife who'd accept anything to keep the peace. He was wrong. So that's how a surprise visit changed everything, just not the way I expected. If this story touched you, smash that like button and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Have you ever had your intuition tell you something was wrong? Share your story in the comments. This is a safe space. Subscribe because next week I'm telling you about the time Preston tried to come back. Yes, girl, he actually tried. You won't believe what I said to him. Until then, remember, protect your peace, protect your assets, and never let anyone make you feel small. Know your worth, document everything, and trust your gut. I'm Gabrielle, and I'm out.